made a conscious choice to return. Many of your families are making a conscious choice to return. Many of you have decided that you will remain embedded in the soil that nurtured you, the soil that welcomed you and embraced you, and the soil that you have enriched enormously by your contribution. I was saying before, just now over coffee, that now whenever I travel across the world in any field, medicine, engineering, technology, management, politics, any particular area of education, wherever one goes, inevitably one finds a remarkable, distinguished Indian right at the top. And I think that's an amazing thing that's happening in the globe. But while we look at and congratulate ourselves at the changing contours of presence of Indians in every public field, from the White House to the island nations that are being led by people of Indian origin, we have to ask ourselves one question: where are we going from here? We've struggled, we've worked hard, we've obviously been able to develop the intrinsic value and worth of the Indian mind, the Indian heart. And we've made an enormous contribution to the world that in the past has exacted a price from us, subjugated us, and taken away our riches. That has learnt from us a great deal, but that's deprived us of a great deal as well. We missed the Industrial Revolution. We missed many of the exciting things that were happening in the 20th century because we were a subjugated nation. And then we struggled to emancipate ourselves, break our chains. Not only the ones that were put on us by foreign rulers, but also those that we had placed upon ourselves. How we had made a society that, despite speaking of justice, denied justice to itself, to its people, to its partners. And we decided then to conceive for ourselves and to design for ourselves and engineer for ourselves a world apart, a world which would recognize its roots and honor its roots, but that would allow its branches to flower and fruit in a manner that's compatible with changing times, in a manner which is compatible with enlightenment and with growing mental space of the Indian people. And I think that as we look back, we can say that much has been achieved. We've come a long way. We were leaders of the third world. We were leaders of those who knocked on the doors of the rulers to say, we want to rule ourselves. We were the leaders of people who talked about emancipation and liberty. We were the leaders of people who said we will no longer be dictated to, and that we recognize our sovereignty as being very valuable to us. And from there, where have we moved? We've moved to now hearing from the world, hearing from the President of the United States, accolades like when the Indian Prime Minister speaks, the world listens. We know that we have still a great deal to do. We are struggling with that. We have a great deal to do in terms of healthcare. We have a great deal to do in terms of developing skills for our young people and getting them jobs. Every year, virtually every year, getting the population of Australia to be out in the market looking for jobs, to make them efficient, productive, make them enjoy the jobs they do, make India into not only a successful nation, but a joyous nation, a comfortable nation, and a pleasant nation. These are great challenges. And there are people who want to stall this for us, the people who want to create impediments, the people who want to make walls where they should be opening windows and doors. And we have to tackle that. And I think when you sit wherever you are, anywhere in the world, and you look at India, you could easily look at the picture of India that is disheartening, that is discouraging, that is worrying. But that's only a small little part, a small little portion of the entirety of what is the idea of India. And I think the idea of India itself has proved again and again how robust it is, how sustainable it is, and how valuable and intrinsically attractive it is. And that's the reason why those of you who left our shores many, many years ago, perhaps several generations ago, want to come back here. It's not something that you want to forget. It's not something that you want to leave behind. It is something that you want to remain part of your lives as you create new avenues and opportunities for generations to come. And that's what I'm here to acknowledge, to recognize, and to welcome you for. I do know that there are a lot of technical issues that will arise both here in the GOPIO conference and in the Pravasi Divas, which is to follow. And the Minister who looks after your concerns, who looks after your welfare, and who looks after your comfort, Mr. Vaila Ravi, I met him this morning, will have some things to add. Other ministers from the Ministry of Finance and Home, Commerce will again have an opportunity to respond to some of the things that remain on your agenda. But I do want to say that the beginning has been made. But while we made a beginning, we have also now to adjust to a new reality. And that's happening in many fields in India. There was a time in India when people argued about minority institutions, and they thought that if you could get the status of a minority institution, the government will not interfere. The government will leave you alone and will allow you to blossom in your own way and seek your own salvation and move in your own direction. And it was felt that government's interference would stifle the urge of a minority to express itself in a larger landscape of a majority. There were people who felt, why, if we are a secular country, if we are a country that believes in majoritarian, electorally majoritarian democracy, then why should we give greater concern to minorities and not the same concern to majority? Why do we distinguish between minority institutions and secular institutions? And of course, we had some effort, we had to put in some effort to explain that minority institution is also a secular institution. Minority institution is not an exception to a secular institution, it is a secular institution, and that's why it gets the special protection that it requires to retain the color of minority that adds to the totality of the color of the Indian fabric. These were sometimes contested issues, sometimes difficult issues. People were able to lead us into directions of conflict. People were able to lead us into directions that made us self-conscious. And I dare say that the debate, bad as it was in the country 10 years ago or 15 years ago, and echoes of which sometimes surface even now because of court judgments and pronouncements that come from time to time reflecting upon a history that was unfortunate and that was hurtful, and a history that was distressing and discomforting. Yet we moved on. We've moved on. But the same debate took place in lands beyond the shores of India. The same debate sometimes emerges even in the United States of America, in Europe, in different parts of the world. And we wonder and we worry that we had felt that we had moved on from India, which was distressed by the constraints that it felt of supply and demand problems, where aspirations could not be met because we were not growing fast enough. And people who have now gone where they've gone as a minority, where they've gone as a community that has to prove its worth and its merit, and that has actually struggled and striven and then moved to the top and proved itself. How and why will they not understand what we feel here as a group that wants a greater say in the scheme of things in a democracy? Nothing to do with minorities in terms of religion and language alone. You can feel a minority despite being in a majority. The moment you speak and think and aspire differently from a group of people amongst whom you live, you become a minority. Every time you think innovatively, you're a minority. So was Jesus Christ a minority, and every prophet. But the prophet converts, and the prophet leads, and the prophet inspires, and then the world changes. Some people come before their time, and they have a great problem. Some people come after their time, and they are lost. Some people come at the right time, and they make it to the top. And I think that's what I feel GOPIO is doing today, at the right time, reaching out to do the right things and make India truly great. I call it the reverse Macaulay effect upon the world. Macaulay told us how to conduct ourselves, how to teach ourselves, how to make ourselves useful. Today we are telling Macaulay's children how to conduct themselves, how to teach themselves, how to manage their institutions, and how to become successful. And I think that is the great glory that you have contributed, and your family that has remained in India has contributed. It's together that we have seen India come to this high level. But I think time has also now come for GOPIO and organizations like yours and people